Up early at the shop and the boys are already at it. Boys are already cranking on the car. She's ready to go. It's dyno and tuning day. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Alright, so they're finishing up the gauge install, and I'm going to go ahead and flash in the first map by F80 Paul, which is just the standard 93 pump map. And so yes, we were tuning with F80 Paul via boot mode, and we've got a few different maps. So here's the pump map he sent. Let me just get the vehicle selected here. Oh, it's going to take a while because I'm on MHD right now. So what is up, guys? New day, new video. We are here at the shop, CES, flashing in the F80 Paul 93 octane map. We got everything finished up. They are just finishing up the gauge right now, and we should be good to go. We got meth in the tank, it's primed, everything's working. And so we're gonna move over to the dyno and start dynoing and tuning the car. So we're doing, I think, 3 or 4 maps, 93 pump with the new turbo and everything, just like my daily map. 93 pump with turbo with meth, and then a E50 blend with meth map as well, which would be like my balls to the wall map. And then we'll see about possibly doing a flame tune map. I'm not sure if we're still gonna do that, but we'll figure it out. So yeah, so we're gonna finish in flashing in this 93. It's like at 14% right now, and then we're gonna move the car over to the dyno and start the process. A little bit face down, but it looks good. Yeah, I like that. Clean, dude. And I can still use the glove box and everything. I like it. I like it a lot. Where are we at? 35? 36? Finishing up. We're about there. Hey, good to go, man. Give it 5 seconds, and then we'll start her up. Cool. So yeah, we're officially good to go with the 93 pump map, and then we can move this car over to the dyno, get it strapped in, and start the process. Oh god, yes, dude. I'm so hyped right now. I'm big hype, big hype. Alright, so the next obvious part of what we need to do here is switch this all-wheel drive over to rear-wheel drive. So, we're going to XDelete here. The unthinkable happened. Absolutely in shock right now. Not the outcome that I thought we would see here today. Dropped the car down, turned over fine, started good, moved it over to the dyno, threw it on the dyno, warmed it up, had it idling for about 20 minutes, ran it through a couple of gears, got it up to like 3,500. Everything seemed fine. And then we heard a sound that almost sounded like something, like one of the zip ties was maybe hitting a fan. It's very faint. So I was like, kill it, let's find out what that is. So we kind of looked around, we didn't really see anything. We're like, fired it back up, let's like see what the deal is. And we started to notice a little bit of a knock that got progressively louder. And then we were like, okay, well, is something wrong with the turbo? Like, we weren't quite sure if it was, you know, engine related or turbo related. Mind you, we didn't even get into a pull. Like, we didn't even get into meth, we didn't get into anything. We were on a 93 base map tune. The only thing that would have changed is that we threw on the turbo and that we did an oil change. That's it. And so we pulled off the intake, pulled off the charge pipe, went to spin the turbo wheel, and it was seized. So we're like, okay, so maybe it's turbo. Like, maybe this was a bad turbo, which would have been, like, honestly the best case scenario. If it was a bad turbo, not a big deal. We get a new one, or just throw in the stock one and figure out what we're gonna do. The turbo was seized, and then we backed the propeller up a little bit, and we heard a little pink, and then we were able to spin the wheel again. So we're like, okay, so maybe something was stuck in the turbo, and we just needed to free it up. And then whatever that was, like, it freed up through the turbo, and we were good. The turbo was spinning fine, like, no play in it. It seemed okay. So after that, we're like, okay, well, why don't we start it up again and see if we hear the noise again and try and figure out where it's coming from. Start it up again. Clearly rod knock, like loud as shit, coming from the body of the engine. We all looked at each other like, there's no, like, how? Like, there's no way. We didn't even do anything. We didn't even get a pull in. We didn't even put meth in the car. Like, we didn't run the car with meth. Like, we were on a 93 pump base map, and we didn't even get a proper pull in. And yeah, you guys heard it in the video, man. The engine's toast. We have a couple of scenarios that were running through our head, like possibilities that could have happened. So when we pulled the original oil out of the car, it was dark, like it was black, like my sweatshirt, which tells us one thing. The oil maybe was really old, and who knows the last time it was changed. I don't think the dealership changed it that I bought it from. Mind you, I've only driven this car for like 1,000, or the 340 for 1,000 miles. I've only had the car for 5 weeks. Driven for like maybe 1,000 miles, and it's possible that when we changed the oil, that was just enough for the bearings to go out. I mean, who knows? There are so many possibilities to this scenario, and we won't have all the answers until we pull the engine and fully dissect it. So that was kind of one of the thoughts, but yeah, I mean, immediately we knew that's it. That's the engine. I mean, it's almost comical, because it's like we didn't even do anything to the car. Like, we slapped a turbo on it, changed the oil. I mean, if we were like running meth through it and running the tune and dynoing it, that would be one thing. Then I would be like, okay, there are other variables, but we didn't do anything. Like, we just slapped on the parts and put in the new oil and let the car warm up, and then it just started making the noise. We didn't even get into any pulls. Tragic, dude. Tragic. But at the same time, like, these things happen, man. Like, this is part of it, and you know, I'm not gonna sit here and like point fingers. I'm not gonna blame anyone, because it's my car and it's my responsibility. And when these things kind of happen, you just gotta roll with the punches. And so I guess the light in all of this is that, you know, we've never built an engine on the channel. Well, now we're gonna build an engine on the channel. I'm in shock. Like, I'm 100% in shock. We've made these past 2 days, we've made videos of the installing the high pressure fuel pump, installing the meth kit, doing the turbo, looking at numbers. I mean, we have literally installed this exact kit this exact way on numerous 340s, and I don't think it has anything to do with the turbo. I don't think it has anything to do with any of the stuff we put on. I think if anything, it has something to do with the oil being changed and just the motor maybe being abused beforehand, and it was just on its way out, and the oil, that viscosity was different enough for it to, thicker enough for it to finally give way because of less lubricant. Is literally the only thing that I can think of. And like I said, like if we were doing pulls and like in the middle of tuning the car, it would be a different, I'd be singing a different song, but I don't know. And there's really nothing I can do, man. I mean, this car's out of warranty. Like, it's got 60,000 miles. I've only had the car for 5 weeks. I've put probably 1,000 miles, maybe a little more on the car. But you guys have seen, like, I've been beating this car, man. I've been driving the car with what it had in it and what it had on it, and we've been doing draggy runs, and I've probably done like 20 plus draggy pulls for quarter miles. Never had any issues. We sat there for about 2-3 hours just kind of talking and like figuring out why and what we think happened, and we drained the oil. We did see little particles in the oil, but we need that oil to settle before we pour it out and see if there's actually like engine parts or pieces or particles in the oil pan. With a rod knock like that, I mean, that was for sure a rod knock. It's we were like, well, do we drop the oil pan? I don't know, man. At that point, it's kind of like, for what? Like, pull the engine, like we're already going down that road. So we are building the engine, and yeah, man, I mean, this is the reality of it, you guys. Like, sometimes this shit happens, and it would have been nice if I actually had gotten to like drive the car and beat on it a little bit before. I would have felt better about it if I would have like gotten into the car, and if it blew, and that was my fault, But when it goes like this, I mean, this is tragic, because when an engine goes like this and you really didn't have any like say in the matter, or like you weren't the culprit for it blowing, it sucks, man. Like that's a shitty feeling. Yeah, I mean, my thing, with the channel and everything, like I want to be able to bring you guys content, and we were building this car for BMW Invasion in February, and I just don't see that happening. No, I don't think that we'll be able to build an engine. It's really tough to get parts right now. It's really tough to get a quality engine builder. This is a video that I didn't want to make, man. This is a video that, I kind of knew, like, in the back of my head that someday I would probably end up making a video like this. Right? I mean, this is the game I'm in, dude. And don't get it twisted. Like, I accept full responsibility, because this is what I do to these cars. Granted, it would have felt a little bit better if I was like beating the shit out of it and this happened, but yeah, like I said, man, we were on a 93 pump gas base map tune. Didn't even get into math. We didn't even hardly spool the turbo. I mean, like 3,000 RPMs. We didn't get into anything. And I don't know, I kind of like, in my head, I'm kind of thinking that maybe that engine was, I mean, we got the car with a tune on it, catless downpipe. It could have very well had a bunch of shit done to it beforehand, and it was just beaten on for a long time. We didn't know, and it just got to the point where we made enough adjustments to the, the oil viscosity and whatnot that it finally decided to give out. I don't know. But at that point, after sitting there for a couple hours talking about it, it's like, for what, man? Like, what's the point? Like, at this point, let's figure out what we're going to do and how we're going to do it, and how fast we can make it happen. So we're going to pull the engine. That's happening now and tomorrow. And, I mean, the cool thing is, like, we get to build an engine. I've never had a build motor in any of my cars, so now it's kind of at the point where I have a sinus infection right now, so I apologize. But we're kind of at the point where, like, I guess we're just gonna build a fucking monster, dude. Like, we don't really have a choice. You know what I mean? Like, you could buy a stock engine and throw it in, but it's gonna cost you more than it would to just build the one we have. And then, and what fun would it be to just put another stock engine in a 340? You know what I mean? Like, we might as well just take this fucker and just build it and do what we want to it and go crazy. So yeah, this is a turn of events, man. It wasn't something I was expecting, but it is what it is, guys, and this shit happens. And, you know, recently I had put a post out where I was having words with some other people in the community who, I mean, it's a little bit deeper of a story because some people were saying some things about me and like what I do, like with these cars, and you know, and those people, I had also done a lot for them by trying to help them out with certain things, and I kind of felt like I was stabbed in the back a little bit. And so kind of like got to a point where I just said some things online that I'll be honest, man, kind of regretting saying it, because I was talking about fast cars aren't fun if they don't run, and here we are. And, you know, call it karma, like, call it whatever, like, I shouldn't have opened my mouth. I should have let that go. So yeah, so that's the situation, man. Like I said, I wish it would have been me that fucked that shit up, but it wasn't. So yeah, man, damn, dude, God, this is fucking cold, man. Got a nasty fucking cold. Nasty cold right now. So that's where we're at, man. Not the video I was expecting to put out today. Not, you know, not the news that I wanted to share with you guys, but what are you gonna do, dude? It's fucking life. And, you know, if the worst that you have going on in your life is a blown motor, you're probably doing all right. There's probably a lot worse shit that could happen, so still pretty grateful. Anyways, not sure what the content is going to be looking like for the foreseeable future here. Obviously going to bring you guys along the ride for the building phase of things, but the problem is, you know, with building engines right now, parts are hard to get. Builders are hard to get a hold of and make things happen. They're backed up. It's not good. This is not a good scenario. I don't know, man. Obviously, we have the E36 and make some content on that, I guess. I have work I have to do on that car anyways, so I'll probably just dip back into some of that shit, which I was planning on doing. You know, I had some other plans too about buying a different car for the Tiguan. I was going to get into X3M, kind of get into some X3M content. But I'm not gonna lie, man. I was really on a roll with the 340, and I was really hyped. We were fucking doing it right, dude. We were going the right direction and making things happen. So I just want to be clear, man. We didn't get into anything, into any tuning, into any driving, nothing. We literally moved it from the bay to the dyno. Let it warm up for 20 minutes, started running it on the dyno just to get things moving, and then it just started knocking. And who knows why. I guess we'll have some more answers once we pull the engine and kind of see what's going on inside of it, and how much like debris we see in the oil, you know, that'll tell us a little bit more. But I mean, the only thing that I can think of is that the oil viscosity, we changed the oil viscosity. It might have been on a really thin oil, and we changed it to a 5W40, and that maybe the engine, the bearings were already on their way out, and that oil was just enough to tip it off. I mean, it still seems like a stretch to me because of how, like, I've been driving the car recently. The car was fine, you know? I just don't have any answers, and it's definitely not the way I want to end this video or this situation either. So we're gonna be building the engine. Still have to figure a lot of things out. We got to figure out how we're doing it. There's a lot of options on the table. I've talked to quite a few people, but it happens. So, anyways, guys, I still love you and appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one.